everybody. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining the How to Improve Relationships by Removing Toxic Behaviors. I'm very happy to release this content and help people to recognize and to deal with toxic behaviors, toxic people, toxic relationships. So let's talk about what matters. Toxic behaviors. What do you think there are toxic behaviors? I made a very light definition here so you can see if you relate, if you have ever experienced a toxic relationship, if you ever experienced toxic behaviors in one kind of relationship. You can define. The definition is very important so that we understand what we are talking about. A lot of people mix toxic behaviors with narcissistic personality, with psychopath, and it's just like, sometimes it's just a mix, and that doesn't help at all. So it's important to understand what we are talking about. Toxic behavior definition refers to a person whose behavior and ongoing actions cause harm to other people. Either they are physical or mental. These people who spread negative and toxic stress or traumas on others' behavior. Have you ever spent time with someone who seemed friendly, nice, super positive, but left you feeling insecure and emotionally exhausted after you go home? That shows that sometimes we bump into toxic people, and sometimes we do not realize the effects of that people in our lives. Because toxic people, they are not aggressive. They are not always aggressive and violent. Toxic people can be very subtle. Toxic behaviors come in a subtle way most of the time. 80% of the time, these people it's very subtle. And this is the most dangerous situation that it can be. Not that the violent one is not dangerous, it is. But when it's a violent and aggressive situation, you recognize that immediately. This is not good. By toxic behaviors, subtle toxic behaviors, you don't realize sometimes. You think that person wants the best for you and are trying to convince you about something that is good for you. So it's subtle, it's intrinsic, it's hidden. So this is the most dangerous thing, and that's where exactly the difficulty is. We are going to see the definition also of narcissistic personality and psychopaths. I have a lot of clients who come to me and say like, oh, my boss is a psychopath. My boyfriend is narcissistic. I've been living with a narcissistic person. Their definitions, of course, this is a very, very quick definition. Now, I'm not giving a lecture. So just that we recognize the difference. So I try to be very precise here, like short, so that we don't stick to this subject very long. When narcissists do a bad thing, they feel some degree of shame and guilt. Psychopaths don't. Psychopaths, they do not feel guilty. If they steal something from you, they get their way of thinking is like, I need that. That's it. They don't have any kind of empathy. Narcissists, on the other hand, they feel ashamed or guilt. It's more for what people are going to think about me. How the outside is going to see me if I do this or that wrong, right? They can recognize what's right and wrong, right? And there is a certain level of guilt and shame that don't stop them doing what they have to do or they want to do, but they are They are afraid of, they need some level of pleasing other people, and they need to keep their image good. So that doesn't mean that they are regretting deeply and being sorry. Apologizing truly is something they have difficulty to do. But it doesn't mean like they feel like this is right to do. So this is like very important for us here to know what is the difference between narcissistic personality and psychopaths. It's another level, right? Recognizing toxic behaviors. What are toxic behaviors in your opinion? Think about it. Take a deep breath. What is a toxic behavior? Can we deliver some toxic behaviors sometimes, or are we just the victims of other toxic behaviors? This is an important question you have to do right now to go along with this course, because there will be a lot of information sent here. And I think it's a good exercise to make a self-reflection. If we have toxic behaviors, if we behave toxically in certain situations or with certain people, it does not mean, that's very important, that we are narcissists or psychopaths. Certain people or certain situations can trigger toxic behaviors inside us. Some situations we are so stressed that we cannot be positive anymore. And of course, this is a self-reflection that it's difficult to do, because usually, for example, I will give an example here because I'm doing a lot of theory. A couple who cannot cheer each other anymore, cannot participate in each other's lives anymore, hate to spend time together. They are husband and wife, and every time they are together doing something with a family or alone, it's like a bad energy. It's like a bad energy. They cannot connect. They cannot talk normally. They cannot communicate. You cannot communicate with someone if the other one doesn't want to receive the communication and doesn't want to participate. But when two people are with a bad energy between each other and they cannot connect, cannot communicate, cannot share anymore, this is like both are having toxic behaviors. And these toxic behaviors have to be removed so that the couple can communicate again. That's what I work so much in coaching. But here we are not coaching, we are talking about how to recognize this behavior. So I think it's important that you recognize these toxic behaviors in the other person, but also the ones that come from you. Nobody's talking about being narcissistic, psychopath, and having a personality disorder. We are talking about behaviors, okay? That we have it. We have it with all of us. So here are some of the points: selfishness, hostility, manipulation should be on the top of the list, actually. Negativity, do not feel sorry, rudeness, dishonesty, lack of empathy for others, cynicism, bossiness, quick to anger, self-centeredness, arrogance, greediness, lack of self-awareness. Sometimes people are not aware, and that's what I just talked now. Sometimes we are not aware about our toxic behaviors. And that doesn't mean that we are toxic or with everybody around us. It can be that we are toxic with one person specific or in one situation specific. And doesn't mean that everybody who are toxic with us, they are toxic with everybody. Okay? So we have to first recognize what triggers that behaviors. Who can be toxic in our environment? It's number one in the charts is the partner. Number two is the boss. And what does it mean? Why are these two figures toxic, the most toxic people in our lives? There are so many things involved in these two relationships, right? With your partner, with your boss. Completely different situations, completely different environments. But in working space, there is a big competition, right? That people want to grow, people have professional targets, people want to be promoted, people want to make more money. People are competing with each other constantly. And being toxic sometimes is a very easy way to put people to the side and make your path easier. Sometimes we do not want to admit our mistakes because we could get fired. So a boss who gives you a task to do or a project, let's say, and then he gives you guidelines. And in the end, it doesn't go well, or he sees that maybe the guidelines he gave you were not the right ones. He can try to convince you that this was your mistake, that you didn't pay attention, you didn't hear well, you didn't take the notes. He never said that all that things. So that could be a way of gaslighting. So what I want to say here is, like, there is so much competition that it's very easy situation to trigger toxic behaviors. Of course, competition can be something clean and positive, right? But we see that so much in corporate that it's like competition can be very negative and very toxic. So the partner is another situation. There are so many things involved in the relationship, especially if there are kids involved. There are common tasks to do together, like sharing tasks, etc. There is a financial situation there, it's involved. It's not so easy just to toss someone. Oh no, I don't want to be married with you anymore. It's not an easy step to do. So sometimes people start being toxic to get to get what they want, to get what they need, because sometimes you cannot, even if you communicate nicely, you cannot get what you want. So this triggers a very toxic relationship. This is just examples, right? So, and then it goes on, right? It goes to parents. Parents can be toxic. We see that very much in Christmas. At Christmas, there are a lot of people with these issues. They love the parents, they love their families, but they hate the gatherings because it's so much toxic, sometimes so much competition, so many questions, so many people remembering moments. There are good moments, bad moments too. And some are making jokes or bullying about their past, etc. So Christmas and family gatherings can be very stressful for many people. Although they love their families, they hate the gatherings because they are toxic. Parents can also be very demanding, right? And not anything you do is good enough. You are not doing what they planned for you to do. You are living your life in a different way they live. So that can be very toxic in some families. Competition between siblings, competition between in-laws. In-laws can be very toxic, especially if there are grandchildren involved, colleagues, friends, and ourselves. Healthy, unhealthy, or abusive, what is the difference? This is also very important information to know. Healthy relationships means, I put here partner, but that could be anything: boss, friend, brother, sister, in-law, however you want. Okay, that fits to every situation, every relationship. Communicating, respectful, trusting, honest, equal, enjoying personal time away from each other, making mutual choices, economic and financial partners. This is the perfect picture. It doesn't mean we are all there. Unhealthy. You may be in an unhealthy relationship if your partner is not communicating, disrespectful, not trusting, not listening, dishonest, trying to take control, only spending time together, pressure into activities unequal economically. So it means like he earns more, you earn less, and there is a huge discussion about that. I can spend this, you can spend that, or opposite, right? You earn more, he earns less, and he feels like that's unfair or whatever. There is a kind of conflict in that matter. The only spending time together here, I want to explain that point because it can be tricky. He only spends, like, it's controlling, right? Everything we do, we have to do together. Everything we choose, we have to choose together. It's a matter of controlling, okay? Abusive is occurring in a relationship when one partner is communicating in hurtful or threatening way, mistreating, accusing the other of cheating when it's untrue, denying their actions are abusive, controlling in a very strong way, isolating their partner from others. And I'm going to give you a hint. This can overlap each other. It doesn't mean that exists a healthy relationship, a complete thing. No, it can be one thing from each other. You know, sometimes you have, you're disrespectful sometimes with someone, but you are not mistreating, right? That's a different thing, but sometimes it can be one thing overlapping the other one. And you can have certain situations in a relationship which are abusive, certain situations in the same relationship which are unhealthy. So this is a reflection for you this week. I hope you enjoyed this content and that you learn something and that makes you reflect about your attitudes, your relationships, your partnerships, your way of behaving with the other people and the way that other people behave towards you. So I hope you enjoyed this content.